y'all, I'm Locklith and we're in a different location as you can tell, and I hope that the audio is not that bad. There is a little bit of an echo in this room, not because there's not stuff in it, there's plenty of stuff. In fact, all the stuff, including dirty laundry, has been shoved out of the way so you can't see how much of a wreck I am today. But I wanted to try something just a little bit different, and this is something that came up during my 2025 planning session live stream that I did. I'll add a link to that in the description box below if you want to watch it for yourself. It was a 4-hour stream, so it is kind of lengthy, but it's kind of like a co-working stream of sorts, so please enjoy. But during that, I mentioned my manga collection and a lot of the manga that I do have, and a lot of it is out of your view. It is in front of me here on the bed, but kind of the starting point of that was because I have been reading more fairly recently, and something that I am doing more so this year is more leaning towards the manga side of things. And so Blue Period is the manga that I chose to start reading. It's new to me. I've already read the first 2, but I do have the first 3 here, and I'm trying to figure out a best way to show y'all. But yeah, I've read these first 2. I've got the 3rd left to read, but during that planning session, I asked y'all about my collection, and if you wanted to see all the manga that I have, the manga, I'm gonna say manga and manga throughout this video, so if you have a preference, I'm so sorry. I say both. It's interchangeable for me. But y'all were interested in seeing my manga collection. So Blue Period was the one that started this. And if you haven't heard of Blue Period, it's basically Yatora, who is this guy right here, who is very good in school, does very well in school, has very good grades, is like second or top of his class in high school. And he decides that he wants to start creating art. And he thinks that he can do it just as well as a Picasso of sorts. So he decides to create his first piece and join an art club, and then he decides he wants to go to like a proper like art, like university, college type of thing, and kind of his journey with that. And what I like about Blue Period and this series itself is because they actually talk about like points of perspective. They talk about color theory and why certain colors go well with others. They talk about leading your eye across an entire canvas. They talk about actual factual art related like structure and things, and why art is good or what makes art really well in the space. And if you didn't know my background, I went to college initially. I didn't finish college, but that's okay. But I went to college initially to get a studio art degree. So I took oil class, oil painting. I took a figure drawing class. I took an art history, which we won't get into. I took a digital art class. Like, I had to have a wide range of different types of art to kind of get into that field. And I was leaning towards becoming a college professor of art actually, but things kind of happened and life happened and I didn't finish school. So yeah, I have a very creative background and I really appreciate the arts, and I have created a lot of art in my time. I haven't in many years. I hope this year I can do more of that. So definitely recommend Blue Period. And I don't know how deep into all of these I will get, all of the manga anyways, because it has been a while since I've read a lot of these. So the next one that I'm just kind of picking and choosing here, this is one that I am gonna eventually get all of them for. They haven't released, I don't believe, a lot of these yet. So this one's kind of an older, not an older one, this is kind of a newer one that I got my hands on many years ago, but I don't know how many volumes they have right now. But it's called My Wife Has No Emotion. This is the first book here, and I've got the first 3. It's been a while since I've read this one. I feel like I might have to reread it because I really don't remember what happens. I'm actually gonna read y'all the backs of the first volume of all these so you can get a better picture than me just kind of going off the cuff, because I'm not at my computer, so I'm not able to Google it. So here we are. Takuma is a single guy who does nothing but go to work and come home. too tired to do chores, he decides to get a robot to cook and keep the house. Mina-chan is such a good housekeeper. Takuma jokes that she should become his wife. Mina takes Takuma's jokes seriously, and slowly the two start doing more things together, like having a picnic outside. As time goes by, Takuma starts to fall for Mina. But can a human and a robot ever have an equal, loving relationship? And so that's why it's My Wife Has No Emotions, because she is a robot. She is meant for specific chores and things to help their human and not necessarily be their wife. But for some reason, Mina just holds on to that and tries to learn what it takes to be human and actually show emotions. But she's very stoic. And I feel like I relate to that at a very big way. So this was one that I just really enjoy. Here I think is Takuma's sister and Mina there, and I mean, like, look at the picture on the back of this. I think they went to the beach or something that day, and like her showing no emotion but like going through the motions of what it takes to be human, and in her own way is enjoying it. Like, this is such a interesting series that I am excited to continue reading. So I need to see if there's any past the third volume, because I need to reread it for one to remind myself as to what happens, and then continue buying more of these. Now, the next one series that I'm going to get into is one that I read through a friend. He let me borrow his collection, and I think some of the ones I have are actually his that I never gave back. Sorry. He probably is not watching this, so, but this was one that I read through him, and I do have this series in an anime form. So I have watched and rewatched the actual animation version of this many times through, and it is one that is one of my favorites of all time. And if you haven't gathered which one that is, it is Fruits Basket, and I only have the first 4 volumes of this one. I kind of really wanted to finish this collection, like to have the entire collection myself, even though I've already read all of it. I know exactly what happens, but the books go into so much more detail than the actual series itself. But the unfortunate thing about this, and some others as well, is you can't get a hold of full collections anymore in their original print. They have recently redone the Fruits Basket collection, and so my thought is, instead of trying to get all of the original versions of this, I think I'm leaning towards just getting rid of these, starting over and buying the new covers and sizes that they have now. The newer versions are a lot larger, which I don't necessarily like. I like the height of these, and it will kind of throw off some of my collection if I start buying them, but they look gorgeous. And I really have a soft spot for this series, and since they've redone the art and things as well, because this does look a little dated, even though I do love Toru and Yuki and Kyo. And let me read you the blurb here on the first book. A family with an ancient curse and the girl who would change their lives forever. Toru Honda was an orphan with no place to go until the mysterious Soma family offered her a place to call home. Now her ordinary high school life is turned upside down as she introduced to the Soma's world of magical curses and family secrets. Discover for yourself the secret of the Zodiac and find out why Fruits Basket has won the hearts of readers around the world. And that's a very good synopsis of this, but it does not tell you enough. Toru ends up becoming one of the Soma family. Essentially, they take her in because she doesn't have anywhere to go or to live, and she learns about the curse of the family, which is each member is a part of the Chinese zodiac. So here are 3 of those members. They are the ones that live in the household with Toru, and this is kind of a good representation of it. So like the Chinese zodiac, there's 12 in total, and there's different animals that are associated with it. So for Yuki, for instance, he is representative of the rat. Whenever a specific character is hugged or touched, I think it's just hugged by someone of the opposite sex. So if Toru hugged Yuki, then he turns into a rat. And that's kind of their curse, and they hide it fairly well, even though as the story progresses, it does get a little bit not as good. I love this series to death, and I'm excited to hopefully buy the newer versions of it. I don't know if I'm gonna try and sell these either, or if I'm just gonna donate. I'm at this place where I just want to get rid of things, donate things, and start fresh on certain things, so that's where we're at with that one. Next one is a chunky one. It is called Princess Jellyfish, and I've got, again, the first 3 volumes of this one. Beautiful art, completely different from some of the others that I have, but still so gorgeous. And it's such a beautiful series. I'll read you kind of what this one's about. And this is one that I actually have not read all 3 of these. I have reread and tried to remember what happens in the first one many times to get through all 3. So this is probably going to be on my list of reads for this year for sure, because I haven't read all 3 of these and I need to. But Princess Jellyfish, Tsukimi, and I'm awful with pronunciations, y'all know this, I'm so sorry. Tsukimi Kurashita has a strange fascination, my goodness, with jellyfish. She loves them from a young age and has carried out that love with her to her new life in the big city of Tokyo. There she resides in Amazukan, a safe haven for girl geeks who regularly gush over a range of things from trains to Japanese dolls. However, a chance meeting at a pet shop has Tsukimi crossing paths with one of the things that the residents of Amamizukan, I am terrible, have been desperately trying to avoid: a beautiful and fashionable woman. But there's much more to this woman than her trendy clothes. This odd encounter is only the beginning of a new and unexpected path for Tsukimi and her friends. And that's what I love about this, is each of the characters has such a nerdy love for something very niche. At the end of the day, they all live in the same household together in Tokyo, and then they come across this very fashionable individual and they kind of get rushed into whatever their lifestyle is moving forward. And I don't know a whole lot about it other than that, because I don't remember much. But Princess Jellyfish, really like it. Love the art in this. Definitely need to read those. Another one that I've read, and specifically more so watched again, is Haruhi Suzumiya. Now that one's easy for me to say because I have seen it and heard it so many times. I only have the very first 2 volumes, but I would love to have the actual books for this one as well, just due to my love for Haruhi. I even cosplayed as her one time in high school. Yeah, y'all, I was a nerd, okay? I was a big nerd, so I cosplayed as her one time in high school. I had the whole headpiece thing, and I kind of wore kind of something similar to this. They've got a blurb on the back for this one, but it is a lot shorter. It's average schoolboy Kion's typical first day at an ordinary high school. Little does he know that his humdrum life is about to get a dose of the super fantastic thanks to fellow classmate Haruhi Suzumiya. Are you ready to join the SOS Brigade? I forgot about the SOS Brigade. Oh my gosh. Actually, like, watching it is so much better, I think. Whereas Fruits Basket, it's better to read it because of the music, because of how they portray Haruhi in there. And it just, you have to know how rambunctious and loud she is. And actually watching the show versus reading it kind of portrays that a lot better. But I would actually love to have the books itself and reread them also. So another one that I am buying in kind of a bulk form, but it's the ones where they have 3 volumes all in one book, and it is Full Metal Alchemist, which I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of. So I've got the first 6 volumes of that. I do need to reread this one as well, because I think I am like halfway through volume 5, but I don't remember what happened. So I'm like halfway through this one. But I did watch a lot of the anime growing up, and if you don't know anything about Full Metal Alchemist. Alchemy, the mystical power to alter the natural world somewhere between magic, art, and science. When two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric, dabbled in these powers to grant their dearest wish, one of them lost an arm and a leg, and the other became nothing but a soul locked into a body of living iron. Now they are agents of the government, slaves of the military alchemical complex, using their unique powers to obey their orders, even to kill. But their powers aren't unique. The world crawls with evil alchemists, and in pursuit of the ultimate alchemical treasure, the Philosopher's Stone, their enemies are even more ruthless than they are. So these are the two brothers here. As you could tell, he's a knight, or he's a suit of armor, and I won't go into details as to why he's in a full suit of armor. Let's just say alchemy doesn't always go great for them, and so they are on this journey to try and, I want to say, revive their mom. I think is kind of how they started getting into alchemy. It's just chaos and war and things from there on out. But Full Metal Alchemist, I feel like, is a very classic one that a lot of people have read or have heard of or have watched. And so I am excited to continue my in books of 3 volumes. I kind of like the condensedness of that. Now this is one that I talked about in a recent video, not recent, but it was my fall faves back in September time. But I talked about books that I want to read around spooky season. I did not read it after I did that video, so that is still something I need to do. But it is the Omnibus, not sure how you say it. I'm going to say it both ways, but it's the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. And here's the cover. I mean, it's not much to write home about. It's very of a different style. But yes, parental advisory. There is explicit content. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of bodies. So 5 young students at a Buddhist university find there's a little call for their job skills in today's Tokyo, among the living that is. But their studies give them a direct line to the dead who are still trapped in their corpses and can't move on to their next reincarnation. Whether you died from suicide, murder, sickness, or madness, they'll carry your body anywhere it needs to go to free your soul. And so they're helping those that have passed on, figuring out what happened to them, helping them if they can, especially if it's a murder of sorts, and helping them move on and reincarnate is essentially the gist of it. And definitely like the theming, definitely like the horror in here. Basically the art and how they portray the corpses and the things that are kind of scarier in here is wild. Even as much as how they do the font. This is a ghost talking to them, and they change up the font so that you know that, and it's very creepy. It's very creepy, but I really do like this, and I need to actually read it. Since we are on this thing of omnibus or omnibus books, my biggest one that I have is the Azumanga Daioh omnibus book. Look how thick this thing is. I have read this entire thing. It was such a good read. I don't know if this is the full. Yes. Okay. So I cover the entire series in this one book, and I'm actually finding that out right now again as I'm reading the back here. But welcome to Azumanga Daioh, the acclaimed manga from writer-illustrator Kiyohiki Azuma about the humor and wonder of teenage life. Join the brainy Chio-chan, spaced-out Osaka, over-the-top Tomo, soft-spoken Sakaki, hair-trigger Yomi, and brash Kagura as they fumble their way towards graduation in the future, collected here for the first time in a single oversized volume. So I have the full series right here in this thick boy, and I have read this. I do remember really enjoying it, and it's just kind of a slice of life where it talks about all the different personalities, individuals that are going through high school together. I don't know what tempted me to buy this one, but glad I have it in my collection. Now, some random one-off ones that are, again, one collection all in one. These are kind of just some interesting ones. I did read one of these all the way through, and it is Brian Lee O'Malley's Seconds, which is a graphic novel, and a very beautiful one, in fact. Let me take off the dust cover here, because I think, yes, even the book itself has, and this is a hardcover, it's one of the few hardcover books that I have. But look at the little guy. Oh my gosh, this is a good one. It has been a while since I've read it, but I will read you a little bit about what this says here. Katie's got it pretty good. She's a talented young chef. She runs a successful restaurant and she has big plans to open an even better one. Then all at once, progress on the new location bogs down. Her charming ex-boyfriend pops up, her fling with another chef goes sour, and her best waitress gets badly hurt. And just like that, Katie's life goes from pretty good to not so much. What she needs is a second chance. Everybody deserves one after all, but they don't come easy. Luckily for Katie, a mysterious girl appears in the middle of the night with a simple instructions for a do-it-yourself do-over. And there's the girl there. 1, write your mistake. 2, ingest 1 mushroom. 3, go to sleep. 4, wake anew. But it was a very interesting read. I remember really kind of digesting this fairly quickly and really liked it. And it is a graphic novel and it is in color. And it was written by Brian Lee O'Malley, who did the Scott Pilgrim series. So if you've heard of him or have read or watched Scott Pilgrim, then you'll probably like this one as well. A very strange one that I think I got because I was actually really struggling in science and math were hard for me, essentially. That's all I'm gonna say. And so I was struggling in my physics class. And my friend, this is the one that, it does not belong to me, it still belongs to him, but I have it, is the Manga Guide to Physics. It's got comics, it's got manga, but it also talks about physics. It's actually an educational book. I do kind of want to read this, even though I'm not in school anymore. I do kind of want to read this so that, I don't know, I think it might be interesting. I don't know, does physics matter anymore? Do we care? And as I am moving all of these around, more books are going to stack up behind me because there's just too many of them. I need to keep track of which ones I've mentioned and which ones I haven't. Now I'm going to be saving two of my favorites for very last. So I've got these last 2 2 volumes that I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to buy the others, because this is one of those long series that you're going to be spending some money. I mean, these ain't cheap. This is like a $10 book. And I don't know how many volumes there are. I think they're in the 30 plus count, but it's My Hero Academia. I think I would prefer watching this than reading it. So I think even though I have the 2 here, I think I'm just gonna donate them because I think I'd rather watch it. The art and the wildness that happens in this is very interesting to read versus watch. But I think I would prefer just watching it and just binging the show versus reading it in this case. But middle school student Izuku, middle school student Izuku wants to be a hero more than anything, but he hasn't got an ounce of power in him. With no chance of ever getting into the prestigious UA high school for budding heroes, his life is looking more and more like a dead end. Then an encounter with All Might, the greatest hero of them all, gives him a chance to change his destiny. And do they have ads in the back of this? So like they've got like an ad here, and also very respectfully, for like a lady hair care shampoo and conditioner. What? But apparently it's a quirky book about heroes and villains. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't remember if I even read these. I think I just bought the 2, maybe read a little bit of the first volume, and then put it down and haven't picked it back up. So I think this is one, again, that I'm going to end up watching versus reading. So I don't know. What do y'all think about My Hero Academia? It's another one that's more popular as well. And second to last, and this is one of my larger collections and complete as well, are the ones by Chobits. And this is one that I jumped on very quickly. The publishing Tokyo Pop version, the original, I jumped on this one very quickly and ended up getting all of them. So I do have the full series for Chobits. Beautiful, beautiful character there, but she isn't your average humanoid computer. I like humanoid and robots, I realize. Anyways, she can't do word processing, she can't connect to the internet, and she's incapable of networking with other persocoms. computers, persocoms, interesting. Even her sound card seems broken. No wonder Hideki found her tied up in a pile of trash. I forgot about that. But when the 19-year-old technophobe takes her home, he finds that she may be more advanced than her childlike behavior lets on. So I really, really liked this, both in reading and in watching the show as well. They put her in such beautiful, like the art with her on the covers is always so gorgeous. She's on every single cover. I think this one is my ultimate favorite because of course it's green, but I love the Chobits series, and there are 8 volumes in total with the original classic one anyways. All of these books are gonna end up falling over as soon as I get off this bed. But this last one, watched the full series and read all of this through at least twice, if not more. But another classic that I feel like a lot of y'all have heard of, and I'll show you volume 1 and then I'll show you how many volumes in total there are. It is Deathnote, and that is Ryuk and Light Yagami. And Light is an ace student with great prospects, and he's bored out of his mind. But all that changes when he finds the Deathnote, a notebook dropped by a rogue Shinigami death god. Any human whose name is written in the notebook dies, and now Light has vowed to use the power of the Deathnote to rid the world of evil. But when criminals begin dropping dead, the authorities send the legendary Detective L to track down the killer. With L hot on his heels, will Light lose sight of his noble goal or his life? Now, Light ends up becoming somewhat of a god in the show. They call him Kira, and it's because he's killing off criminals. But at the same time, he's trying to do it in a sneaky way, and he's just a kid in high school, and it's all because he was bored. Like, come on. But let me show you how many in total. Here is L, by the way, as well. He's the detective. And then here's a better picture of Ryuk, the Shinigami who dropped the notebook in the first place. I love Ryuk so much. But here, if I can even show you, there are 13 volumes in total. Such a good series. Oh my god, that's so heavy. But I really, 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 really like this. Like, so many beautiful cover art. There's another Shinigami there as well. Another one of L. This is a great show to watch for sure. But also to read. I really, really like that one. And I know I said a second ago, and then some, because not only do I have the 13 volumes, but I also have some other additional ones that they did outside of those. So we've got L Change the World is kind of like his perspective of things, and you get a little bit more inside of his head. It is a shorter read. I don't remember if I even read it. I think maybe I did. I just don't think I comprehended exactly what was going on as much, but I did want to have it because I really, really, really love the show. And then the other one is Another Note, the LA BB murder cases. There's a serial killer loose in LA, and the local authorities need help fast. For some reason, the killer has been leaving a string of maddeningly arcane clues at each crime scene. Each of these clues, it seems, is an indecipherable roadmap to the next murder. Onto the scene comes L, the mysterious super sleuth. Despite his peculiar working habits, he's never shown his face in public, for example. Yes, that's a thing about L. He doesn't show his face due to security reasons for himself. He's the most decorated detective in the world and has never tackled a case he hasn't been able to crack, but this time he needs help. And so he enlists the services of an FBI agent named Naomi Misora. And it's basically about a case that happens before all of this happens, because the case does come up in the series, and so you get to learn about that case in Los Angeles before everything that happens in Japan and in Tokyo and all that as well. So these were two just kind of one-off ones that kind of gives you a little extra taste outside of the actual like 13 volume collection. And it has one of the wildest and just keep turning pages ending in that last volume as well. So many characters come and go that you just want to learn more about. And I think Deathnote is one that I will always go back and probably reread throughout my days, I guess, because it's one that I don't know what it is about it. It's just the thrill of it. I really like mysteries, so of course I would gravitate towards that. As you can tell, we've got a little hefty stack behind me, and of course I had my Squishmallows here to keep me company throughout this video, but I hope y'all enjoyed seeing my full manga collection. I do have a small, I want to say maybe that tall, comic book collection as well if you are interested. I haven't read most of those though. I'm more of a manga girly versus a comic book girly, but I do want to read more comics because something as simple as these that I debated even picking up for this, I would say these lean more towards comics versus a manga. But I don't know if y'all have heard of Sarah's Scribbles. Sarah Anderson, who does these like adulthood is a myth, big mushy happy lump. Like she does all these very, very short little one-off panels. Each page is its own comic, but they're kind of very interesting. She talks about very realistic stuff, like if you are a woman and like syncing your period with other women, that type of thing. I picked these up because they were with my manga, and then I thought maybe I should show y'all some of the like comics that I have as well. So yeah, Sarah's Scribbles by Sarah Anderson. Pick those up if you haven't, because they are, especially if you're a woman, they are very realistic and relatable. They get a good chuckle out of me. I know there's one other one that I need to buy. I think she's got maybe 3 or 4 in total, so I need to buy the 3rd one. But I hope y'all enjoyed my manga collection. Let me know in the comments of any other additional anime or manga that you want me to read or watch. And let me know which one out of my collection that you really love or have read for yourself. I am very, very interested to hear. And thank y'all so much for watching.